time for the Straight Up Wrestling Show.
What's going on this evening? Oh, goodness sake, man. I can't even say that. What's going on, everybody? It's HBT with Straight Up Wrestling Show, guys. I am here live, man, right after Monday Night Raw. Here to have a little bit of wrestling talk. I'm not going to talk about Monday Night Raw. I am going to talk about it a little bit, get into it a little bit, and what I thought about it tonight. But Chris and I plan on doing a show tomorrow, doing a review of the show. So I definitely want to do it with my partner, Christopher Burton, so we can pretty much get into the review and talk about the show together, man. It's gonna be pretty good, pretty jammed up. And hey, we're gonna do that previous to NXT coming on, man. We're gonna be rocking it out tomorrow, guys. So hey, join us tomorrow as we prepare for this show, as we get it done. Man, I can't wait to do it. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Raw tonight. Raw was pretty good, man. I don't have any results in front of me or anything like that. I do, I did watch every single bit of it. Ray Underwood, what's up, Raymond? Raymond is in the house. What's going on, brother? But yeah, so pretty much, man. Yeah, I thought Raw was good tonight. Now there's some rumors going around that they have put it out, and I think TKO put it out, Endeavor put it out, that hey, Vince McMahon is not involved in the creative anymore. So they put it at, it's 2 or 3 different sources been putting it out, and a lot of people been talking about it. So saying Triple H is in complete control of creative. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe he is. I mean, if you look at tonight's show, maybe you can say he is in control of creative, but hey, that could be a good thing or that could be a bad thing. Hey, there's pros and cons to every single thing that you do. And so, I mean, it seemed to get everybody pumped up. I did a audio video today, an audio thing that I have not uploaded, but I talked about that. And I want to know what does everybody have against Vince McMahon? Seriously, people act like they cannot stand this man. They hate this man. Like he ran into their yard, man, and stole their puppies or something. I don't know, but it cracks me up, the vitriol that people have for Vince McMahon. It really does. I hated him for reasons. I couldn't stand Vince McMahon for reasons. There was some reasons that I did not like him in 1982. After he bought his father's company, he slowly started changing. It took 2 years, and he just turned it to a complete cartoon. In my opinion, he changed the whole wrestling game. He changed it, and he came in and he crushed the territories, took their wrestlers and took them up to New York, and he changed the whole thing. I mean, I had that against him, but I had Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and then it became it was Jim Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and then he started buying up territories too. And so I had that. I had WCW. I was fine with that. Until Eric Bischoff came in, and Eric Bischoff changed the whole thing. Changed the whole thing and gave us WWE. We didn't want that. We did not want that. Us Southern folks that was that was watching WCW, and the people up north who watched WCW, we didn't want that. But he brought that to us. And so, I couldn't stand him for that, but I don't hate him and say he ruined wrestling. Hey, I put it on other people because, like I said, there was another organization out there that put the wrong man in charge, and that man ran with a doggone faction forever and thought this thing was gonna go, and he crushed the people that built that company for years, that built that company, established themselves, and he crushed that company. That wasn't on Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon, he took the thing, didn't really know what to do with WCW. He said he was gonna crush it, but the whole thing about it is this man did not realize that, hey, what he was doing was setting himself up to where he had to please every single wrestling fan out there. If not, he was going to get the heat from it, because, hey, he was the only thing that was standing out there. So everybody's eyes was focused on him. And anytime that he slipped up or he crushed the dreams of somebody and their favorite wrestler that they was all into, that they was hugging onto, and he crushed their dreams, then they was all over him and they hated him. And when AEW came along, they decided to go over there, and they cannot stand WWE to this day, and they hate Vince McMahon. And I was talking about, the guys the guys that's younger than me. I'm from Generation X, but I'm early Generation Xer. Generation X started in 1965. I'm one of those early Generation X guys. I'm a couple years after that. And let's see, I remember back, man, I'm gonna go back. My partner, Christopher Burton, he's 46. He's born in 78, born in 77 or 78, I think 77. But these Generation X guys that I used to work with, that's all they did. When they bragged about Vince McMahon, bragged about him, loved Vince McMahon. Back in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, they wanted him to get involved with everything. They wanted him to buy everything. I remember when he started the XFL, man, they were so excited. Vince McMahon was the man. They love Vince McMahon. Then those same group of people can't stand him today. They hate his guts and blame him for every single thing. Like I said, man, like he came in, he stole your puppy. He broke in your house. He stole your doggone PlayStation or whatever. But that's the way people act about Vince McMahon. It's flat out crazy to me, man. It's flat out crazy to see so many people, especially the younger Gen X guys and the older millennials. I'm talking about older millennials of, hating him so much. But that guy has so much hate. And like I said, I don't think Vince Hands is completely off WWE. Maybe it was tonight, because like I say, that was totally different. This show, one thing about the show tonight, I thought it was good. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B. I'm not gonna rank it by a score. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B, man. Maybe a little bit over that. But the only reason I'm gonna do that because the action kept going. The show wasn't boring. It just kept going. It was moving, but it was just too much happening at one time. That's something I do not want to see. Too much happening at one time, and to certain points of the show got goofy, like the Ricochet thing. The Ricochet thing and Shinsuke thing just kept going on and on and on. It didn't have to happen that way. And Shinsuke, they're trying to give him something, coming off of this Seth Rollins thing. They are rushing it. It shouldn't have done that. And he's went from a A+ level feud to a C level feud. It's not good. It's not good. Not saying Ricochet is not worthy, man. Ricochet definitely worthy, but those two are not that intriguing, guys. It's a middle card type matchup, and that's all it is to it. You could have a months long feud, 4 or 5 long feud with that, and that's basically it. It depends on how many times they wrestle. All right, Ray Underwood says because he manipulated wrestling. Monopolized wrestling. Yes, he did. Ray says Vince realized when he crushed wrestling territories that everyone would have to watch his product because there wasn't any other out there. That's true. No ends or buts about that. And hey, I made the decision not to. I made the decision not to watch his product. I would go back and I would watch and see if there was somebody on there that I liked or whatever that came from the territories, or there was somebody new that came up. But man, I knew I was going to get the same thing over and over again. Yeah, people want that. People sit there and they try to tell me, man, you missed a lot of great wrestling between 2001 and 2003. You missed a lot of good wrestling here and there. Oh, I went back. I saw some of that stuff, man. I was seeing some of that stuff while it was going on. I would turn on the TV every now and then, come home from work when, I was in my late 30s or whatever, 35, 36, 37. That was around at that time. And I would turn on the TV, flip and see what was on there. And I'll be like, oh, okay. I love Randy Orton, man, his legend killer and all those things when he first came along. Love that. I was like, wow, man, this guy seemed like he's pretty good. He's better than his dad. So, I saw him and I saw some other people, admired some of the things that Rob Van Dam was doing. And some of the other guys I definitely did. And, followed Chris Benoit, even though, hey, we know what happened with Chris Benoit, but I still followed him. He still was I thought was a great wrestler. Booker T. Steve Austin, because I loved him, the stunning Steve Austin, but I really hated him as Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really didn't like him as Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though I know he had to be Stone Cold Steve Austin or he never would have been what he had become. So I could deal with that, but I loved him as stunning Steve Austin. So, and Brian Pillman, all those guys, man, I still was intrigued with that was still there. And then I know Brian Pillman had died a little early there. But Eddie Guerrero, I was still into those guys, man. But I couldn't sit there and watch that product. It's not because of what Vince did. It's because the product sucked. In my eyes, people like it was different. It was different. It was different, but it was beating up women. I wasn't into that. That wasn't my thing. So I couldn't watch it. So let's look at what else came up as the competition. Tried to be competition. TNA. I tried to look at that, but they had that silly 3-ring or whatever it was. I just like, wow, that was just flat out dumb. And then Dixie Carter, she brought in Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. I said, that's it. That's it. I cannot watch this. So yeah, Vince forced everybody to watch his brand of wrestling. He just did. And what you had surrounding that, you had pretty much independent wrestling out here, which I didn't, at that time I wasn't getting into. Chris was getting into it, like I say, he became a wrestler for a little while, and some of my friends were going out there to watch it, and I go and watch it, and they doing the same things that the WWE is doing. They are trying to mimic that. And that just blows my mind, man. And I said, no, I can't be involved in this. All right, Ray Underwood. And the problem is that people knew that Vince didn't care if you watched or not, because he controlled the wrestling world. Yes, he did. If you wanted to watch wrestling, you had to watch the WWE. Yes. And Vince have gotten so smart, even though he has lost millions of fans. They have lost millions of fans. This guy has gotten so smart to where he is still making money with the fans that are left in wrestling. He has monopolized it so much, even though they lost millions of fans and a lot of people not watching. He's still getting a lot of clicks on social media, and he's still getting a lot of views from fans worldwide, and the fans that he have in the United States that he has compartmentalized, that he has built into this into this faction of people, this religion type group of people that, I'm not going to call people a cult. I'm not going to call them a cult. They're just wrestling fans. And, the people that was the real hardcore wrestling fans. And I'm talking about people like, and Ray, you understand what I'm saying. And JL, what's up, JL? You know what NASCAR fans, you know what they are. It's a group of fans, man. Golf fans. It's a group of fans. They're big golf fans. Tennis fans to a certain point, the same way. Fans the same way, and they are in this group, and that's the same way with wrestling fans, that he has found that group of wrestling fans that will pay anything for his product, and that spends lots of money. I mean, these people will spend money. It's just like AEW. They got fans, man, who are willing. Tony Khan, he puts on that pay-per-view every month. These jokers are going to pay for it every single month. These fans, even though they don't have it, they're going to find that money to pay for that pay-per-view. It's just like people that smoke cigarettes, man, or drink have to drink all the time. They're going to find money. They find money in their budget. When they go shopping, the important stuff. They want their cigarettes, and they going to get their alcohol. We got to get our cigarettes and alcohol. And that's what not Tony Khan, but Vince McMahon found that group of fans. And Tony Khan has figured that out too. Tony Khan has figured it out. I mean, speaking of his attendance, if you look at his attendance, I mean, there's pictures and everything going around about his attendance, how it just slowly dwindling. I mean, dwindling big time. But Tony Khan, man, he knows that people are going to pay for his pay-per-views. They'll sit at home, but these people are going to come out to not come out to the arenas. They might sit at home, but if he put out a pay-per-view, they're gonna buy it. They're gonna buy it. And he does do pretty good pay-per-views. But he has a group of fans that's locked in. Man, these people locked in. It doesn't matter how crazy his show gets. People are locked in, and he knows it. These people are locked in. He's got a group of fans that's locked in, and he's just trying to get to that million. Straight up, man. Straight up. JL, my man, is in the house. JL, what is up with this happy Thanksgiving, Harrison? Man, what is up with this happy Thanksgiving, JL? Man, there ain't no Thanksgiving, and my name's Harry. Man, stop with that Harrison stuff. Nah, it's cool, man. But no, JL, Thanksgiving is in November, Cat Daddy. You know that, man. And I know it's an American holiday, but you need to get real. You know this. Oh, wow, man. Oh, wow. JL, so why did Cody win irrelevant tag belts in a division nobody cares about? And you know what? That's their fault. That it's not Cody's fault. It's the WWE's fault that nobody cares about it. And they should care about it. They definitely should care about it. A tag team division has to be built, and it needs to mean something. It needs to be a mainstay. If wrestling going to get back, it's never, believe me, it's never going to be healthy if tag teams don't get healthy. If tag teams don't mean anything, it's not going to get back to what it was. Never, ever going to get back to what it was. Wrestling was built off tag teams, man. Built off of it. All right, JL. So why did Coach? Okay, JL. Dana White is like Vince, just not as shady and grimy. Yeah, he's a lot like him. Dana White is a lot like him. All right, JL. 18 hours until Bronson pulls 2 million viewers. Man, I don't know if they're gonna pull 2 million. 2 million. You know, I was thinking after all that stuff was announced that they was gonna do like 1.4. I say 1.4. Now I'm up around that 1.6, 1.7 million range tomorrow, and that's a lot. That's a lot. That's raw numbers. That's up above raw numbers because Raw is going up against football, and everybody want to crack and trip on Raw because Raw, they busting their tail to get to that 1.5. But Raw, they have added new NFL games on Monday night. They're going up against usually 2 to 3 games sometime on Monday night. And it's not just that. Now it's on free TV. ABC is free TV. It was on ESPN. It was on cable. So if you didn't have cable, and a lot of people don't, still a lot of people don't. You don't have cable, you couldn't watch it. So now it's on free TV. So everybody, man's got free TV. That they can stay at home. A lot of people will run to a bar or something like that. So they're staying at home and watching it with their antennas, man. So yeah, the NFL is getting like 20 million viewers, man, watching their Monday night football games. I want wrestling to go back to the day where it didn't have to worry about the ratings, the football ratings, the football games, interfering with their shows. Man, if you was a wrestling fan, even a lot of casual fans used to blow off football if there was important matches that was coming up. They would blow it off and watch wrestling. Wrestling was that good. It was that good. But yeah, Vince changed it, and a lot of people hate him. I mean, people hate him like crazy. They don't even want his name to be affiliated, man. It's just like, boom, as soon as some of these people hear his name, it's like they want to just throw up. And I mean, and I hate to say it, my boy, the People's Podcaster, he was one of them. He used to love Vince, man. That's all he talked about. And I used to want to throw up every time he mentioned his name back in the day. Because I looked at what Vince McMahon had did to wrestling. But I tell you what, since I came back, man, since we started the podcast, I give Vince McMahon all the credit in the world. I'm like, look at what this guy did. And I told Vince, I mean, not Vince, but I told Chris, I'm thinking about my best friend from high school. But me and Chris talking, I said, Chris, it's not, Vince can't help it that these guys didn't step up. Man, there was guys making money back in the day. There was money man in wrestling that could have got together and said, hey, look, we need to do this, we need to do that. But these guys, these guys went and sold out to Vince McMahon. Instead of competing with him, they went ahead and sold out. Shouldn't have did it. So I put the impending doom on a lot of people. But these guys, I have to say, a lot of these guys like Sam Mushnick, Paul Bosch, Bill Watson, all these guys was already old, man. Some of these guys, well, Bill Watts wasn't that old, but he was in his 60s. But a lot of these guys were very long in the tooth, man. Very long in the tooth. And they just didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to deal with it, or they didn't know the landscape of wrestling. They didn't know how people reacted. All they saw was Hulk Hogan get on there and talk about, hey, say your prayers, eat your vitamins and things like that. They didn't really know. They wasn't, they didn't really know the ratings that they was getting or anything like that. They just saw MTV was involved, and this thing just became bigger than life. And I believe a lot of people were scared of it, and they sold their organizations to them, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's see. JL. WWE screams quality, and they have the UFC affect. People call it WWE and not pro wrestling. Just how people call it UFC, not MMA. Wow, they associate the promotional company with the sport of entertainment. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Jake L. says TK needs to bring people back for more such as compelling drama stories. Yeah, man. There's no doubt about it. Tony Khan, that's where he's really messing up, man. He just doesn't have any stories, don't know how to hold on to anything. The man does not have the patience. He doesn't have the patience. Somebody needs to come in there and have real patience to help him out in his company. I'm telling you straight up, man, I'm going to reach out to him. Me and Chris, we're going to reach out to this guy, man. I'm going to see if I can get in touch with him. JL, I will say this, guys, I am tired of watching wrestling the way I watch it. I watched Rampage this morning. I was working out, guys. I hadn't had a good workout in a while. I was working out. Or was it last night I was working out? And man, I was watching the four-way. What was that? Four-way match. I wish I could pull it up right now. I was watching this four-way match that had Del Vikingo in it. Let's see. It was four-way. It was a four-way match, okay, on Rampage. And it was like 15 minutes left in the show. I'm watching this match. This guy, Del Vikingo or whatever, he's running the ropes. He ran the ropes all the way from the turnbuckle, the right-hand turnbuckle on the backside. Ran the ropes all the way to the end. And there was 3 guys out there waiting for him as he ran the ropes. And as he jumped, as he dived, cut a flip on him. They was waiting for him. I just came up off the bike, man. I threw my hands up in the air right there. And, it woke my wife up. I was like, God almighty. She was like, what's wrong, baby? What's wrong? I was like, man, I can't watch this. I can't watch this. But, I see so much of it. And tonight on WWE, I saw some things that just made me want to stop there. There was a couple incidents there that I really didn't like. I was like, wow, what, man, this kind of stuff got to stop. It has got to stop. But, hey, like I say, WWE, Vince have built a solid base. And if those fans, if AEW falls, we don't want AEW to fall. Believe me, I don't want AEW to fall. If AEW falls, guess what's going to happen, guys? 400, 500,000 of those fans, those 700, 800,000 fans that's watching AEW, I say 500,000 of those fans, they're going to come crawling right back over to WWE. They're going to start watching that product. Some of them will break off and watch NWA Power. Some of them break off, become fans of Impact, become loyal to those brands. But no, I'll say 600,000, at least 80%, almost 78, 77 to 80% will come back. Probably 600,000 fans will come back over to the WWE. They definitely will. They definitely will. If AEW falls, it's going to fall if they continue to do what they're doing. Tony Khan, like I say, man, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much money you have. I worked with companies that had an endless supply of money. And then after a while, your shenanigans are going to catch up with you. Kmart, Sears had an endless amount of money, 7, 8, 9, 12 years ago. Endless amount of money. Kept on trying to, building the company out. The guy who was the CEO took out, his own stock and put his own stock behind it. They kept doing it, relying on the name. Pouring money down the drain. And that's one thing, Tony Khan, hey, buddy, if you cannot keep renting these big arenas and stuff like that and paying for them, and you're not getting a return. And that's what I'm seeing. He's not getting a return, and he's really not making a profit on the money that he's putting out here. Now, not saying that he didn't make a lot of money on this deal that he got with Warner and Discovery, but Warner and Discovery, they can end that thing at any time, guys. And Tony still have admitted that he hasn't broken even yet with the company. He almost broke even about 2.5 years ago. He haven't broken even. So, man, just how long you're going to let this gravy train go on, and how long you're going to keep paying people, crazy amounts of money just to try to catch somebody, try to catch a company, and try to prove a point. And that's what he's basically doing. All right, JL says, Harry, Thanksgiving is in October today. Okay, man. JL TK announced Eddie is defending his belt. Well, happy Thanksgiving then, JL. JL said if AEW and NXT both pull 1 million, I'll be shocked. Man, they will have, and look, AEW, I hope they pull a good number. I hope they do good. I hope they do well tomorrow because, and like I say, they need to. They put together a great card. They are trying. But the storylines got to be there. They got to be there. They have enough talent, JL, where they can compete, where they definitely can pull the numbers. AEW definitely have enough talent. They definitely have enough talent, man. They just got to pull storyline. They got to get storylines. They can compete they can go head to head. In my opinion, they can go head to head. They could go head to head if they just put their minds together and say, oh, let's find the people that's patient enough and find the people that know exactly what they're doing. Then Tony Khan will have a company that could be right on the heels. Now, of course, they're not going to beat them, but they can be on the heels of WWE. They really can. JL, the Cowgirls got humbled good. Dak can go make some more excuses. Okay, JL. How about them Cowboys? That's all I got to say, man. Now, I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. I used to be back in the day when I was a kid, when I was growing up. That's before Carolina had their own team. And, I'm from the Carolinas, man. Once we got our own team, And, I worked for that team when they first started. I worked pretty much to promote that team. But man, yeah, but I used to be a fan of the Cowboys. I really did. I hated them. I've hated them ever since Jerry Jones been the leader. I mean, since Jerry Jones been the owner of the Cowboys. When Tex Scram sold it to him, and he did that to Tom, what he did to Tom Landry, that was it with me. That was it with me. Went and fired the man on the golf course. That was it. I said, I'm done. Tom Landry was a great man, and I'm like, you disrespected Tom Landry. And then when he won a couple Super Bowls, I still didn't really like him. I said, okay, man, that's cool. They won a couple Super Bowls with Jimmy Johnson, man. Jimmy Johnson is a great coach. And what he did to Jimmy Johnson, I said, oh, gosh, this guy's a flipping idiot, man. All right, Ray Underwood. Vince didn't like WCW. Vince didn't like WCW, was giving him competition. That is why he destroyed it. Man, you know what? For a while there, he really didn't care about WCW. And the whole thing about it, WCW, I can't really put all that on Vince. I really can't. I think Vince had tried to have plans for it, but Vince really didn't know what to do with it. He really didn't. He could have gave it to a son, but how Shane would have really ran that thing? Shane would have ran it just like his dad running WWE. We would have had a double dose of that. Eric Bischoff was already like the WWE, so it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. And man, Vince really didn't destroy it, man. Like I said, once it off, and I don't care what people say. I'm tired of people saying Eric Bischoff made it better. Eric Bischoff did this. Eric Bischoff did that. Man, I don't care what he did and how he did it. I don't care about that 83 weeks, what this arrogant idiot calls his podcast. I don't care about that. I care about what happened later on. This guy wasn't looking long range. He wasn't caring about long range. He had a vision, but that vision was short-sighted. I like people that have a long range vision and say, this is how we're going to get there. But no, this guy decided, hey, he doing what Tony Khan did. What did WCW do, guys? Like everybody said, WCW, they went and got these old WWE stars, WWF stars. And Tony Khan, he's getting a whole bunch of old WWE stars and hoping that propel his company instead of building stars. And that was the whole thing about WCW. WCW, man, they built stars. They built stars. Jim Crockett built stars. Man, nobody could touch his roster. Even Vince in his heyday, back in the 80s, man, rocking roll connection and everything he had. When he had Hulk Hogan, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Hacksaw Duggan, Honky Tonk Man, Junkyard Dog, Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, all those guys, most of those guys that I mentioned, guess where they came from? They went through Jim Crockett Promotions and became big stars. Roddy Piper was a huge star, down in the Carolinas, Virginia, and stuff like that with WCW, Jim Crockett Promotions. Him, Jake the Snake Roberts, they was huge stars. With Ricky Steamboat, huge star with WCW, where, it was Jim Crockett Promotions. They was huge stars before they went up there and did that goofy crap. So I'm just like, man, but, Vince was smart enough to go down and find these stars from the NWA and from these territories and bring them up. And they was already built, a lot of them. But people look at them, hey, they were WWE superstars, they were WWF superstars, but no. But man, I mean, like I say, it just, Jim Crockett Jr. said, I wish I was a better businessman. Man, he shouldn't have he should have went and talked to Ted Turner. Ted Turner would have backed him, man. Ted Turner loved WCW. But he went ahead and he sold it. I guess he just went to him with a proposition. I'm selling it. And what's Ted Turner, man? He's a businessman. What is he going to think? Oh, this guy's getting out of business. I don't want this thing off my TV station. Boom. Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll give you $8 million for it. It's worth it because you basically had the number one show for over 20 years. At that time, man, about 27 years, he had been, I think like 27 years, they was the number one show. Wrestling was the number one show on his superstation. He wasn't going to give that up. All right, man, JL, Vince is the kingpin of pro wrestling. Without him, there's no Rock. Exactly. John Cena, Brock wouldn't have been as popular. UFC might not be as popular. That's true. And most importantly, Braun Breaker wouldn't be famous. That's true, JL. Every single thing you just said is 100% legitimately true. That man has built so many superstars. Man, it's not even funny. It's not even funny. I'm just like, wrestling wouldn't have never got to the plateau that it reached. It never would have gotten there. But, the bad side of it, the con, that's the pro side of it. The cons of it, man, the bad side of it is we're in the situation we're in now. And I don't care what freaking Rollins say. I don't care what Al Snow say. He put, I know, Ray, you sent me that thing. And to a point, I agree with Al Snow to a certain point. But, man, wrestling is not as healthy as they say it is. Of course it's healthy as far as it's on network TV. We can pick it up anytime on a click, anytime we want to watch it on YouTube or anything like that, TikTok or whatever. It's there, Facebook, we got it. All kind of things, man. And there's so many wrestling organizations out there, but wrestling is not healthy. People in the general population, the general public don't care nothing about it. The casual fans laugh. Every time I talk to a lot of casual fans, man. I talk to them. I talk to people and say, I tell them what Chris and I does, or what me and Chris and I do. I tell them what we do, and people will smile. They'll laugh a little bit. Oh man, I used to watch wrestling all the time. I used to watch it all the time. And you ask them why they don't watch it no more, and they will tell you exactly why they don't watch it no more. And they tell you they try to come back and watch it, and they see people flipping up and down, flipping, doing all kind of crazy stuff. They don't want to be involved in that. People don't want to be involved in that. And I tell you what, Jim Ross, man, at least Jim Ross is speaking real. Jim Ross is speaking real, and people are finally putting that out, that tweet that Jim Ross said he didn't want to be a part of that. He said that at spots, and he said he don't give a damn about that. But I heard it. I've listened to Jim Ross on podcasts tear into AEW, and the man works for him. But I'm like, Jim, why aren't you going to talk to Tony? Why aren't you talking to Tony Khan about this? I guess he wants a job that bad, man. I guess so. I guess that's what he wants. All right, Ray Underwood said, happy Thanksgiving to you, JL. But JL, I have to agree with you 100%, man. I have to agree with you. All right. JL says, thank you, Raymond. Okay, Ray Underwood said, happy Thanksgiving is the second Monday in October in Canada. Yeah, that's something I just found out. Appreciate that. And, hey, you closer to Canada, so you would know. I didn't even know that. All right, Facebook user said, didn't watch Raw because I was watching the Raiders fans. The Raiders fan. Okay. Oh, you was watching the Oakland Raiders, Matthew. I'm just messing with you, Matthew. You was watching the LA Raiders, man. No, not the LA Raiders, the LV Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. What am I talking about, man? To me, in my opinion, because the way I grew up, they will always be the Oakland Raiders. Love the Oakland Raiders, but yeah, cool, man. Let's see. All right, JL said I was watching NWO come out with Rodman, and it looked so cool. Maybe it was because of it being before the internet or social media, but it looked like something I would be watching with my friends. Yeah, man, look, it was cool. They did a lot of cool things, man. They really did. They just took it a little too far. It just kept going on and on and on and on, and they ran out of ideas. It was stupid. All he wanted to do at first, man, I mean, the storyline with that is NWO should have came in there and they took over. They had the Outsiders. It was just good with the Outsiders, with Kevin Owens. I'm not Kevin Owens, man. Why am I talking about Kevin Owens? I got Kevin Owens on the mind. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. That was a great storyline because they was over in WCW prior till they went back over to the WWE. Man, they was before they became Diesel and Razor Ramon. They was in Nash went through a lot of different things. And I think before he left, he was Vinny Vegas. The last time he left before he went to the WWF, he was Vinny Vegas. And Razor Ramon was the Diamond Stud. Scott Hall was the Diamond Stud. He was great as the Diamond Stud. And I thought Vinny Vegas was good. Vegas was good too. They just didn't get over in WCW. They went over there. They made them stars. I guess Vince saw something in them, man. And I saw it myself. But Eric Bischoff didn't see it. He didn't see it at all. I saw it. But man, so they went over there. He made them stars. Then they come back. They the Outsiders, man. Great tag team. And then, they added Hulk Hogan. That thing was great. I think that was solid. That was a great group. They could have probably added a couple more people, some associates, and just let it ride with that. The Outsiders become the NWO. And then have Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff shouldn't have even been involved in that, maybe for just a short while. And she should have came to her senses. Oh, man, what am I doing? Hey, We got to stop these guys, man. We got to stop these guys. And talk to these WCW wrestlers. I know I betrayed you guys and everything like that, but we got to get out there. We got to win. We got to do this. He should have been a motivator, man. This guy could have did so much, but like I said, he wanted to ride with the crew. He wanted to be part of the boys, and he let those guys do what they want to do. And hey, they ruined the company straight up. All right, Pedro Perez, what is your opinion about Fastlane? Fastlane was very good. It was very good. It was mediocre at first. It was mediocre. I think like the first 4 matches we had like between the 2.5 stars. It was like it was pretty much. Let's see. It was pretty much treading on that 3-star ranking. Pretty much treading on a 3-star ranking. I'm talking about a C. That's a C for us. 2.5 stars is usually like a D+ or a low C. But it was between that 2.5, 2.8 until they got into those last 2 matches, man. Those last 2 matches pretty much tore the house down. We had 1 5.5-star match, and we had 1 4.5-star match. And that right there brought the show up to really, in my opinion, 3.5 stars. But it ended up a 4-star night because it changed everything. It made people forget about the matches that was prior. I think we had 1 3-star match there, but and that right there propelled it to 4 stars. Because me, Chris, myself, and everybody else that was on here, we went ahead and went like 4 stars, and I could roll with that. At first, I was gonna say 3.5 stars, but it was a very good night of wrestling. When those last 2 matches, they really finished it off very well. But Fastlane, it did the job what was supposed to be done. The bad thing about Fastlane and the last couple of pay-per-views that the WWE has done is that they have not had the world champion. Roman Reigns have not defended the title. Now, Roman will be at SmackDown, I think, Friday, or is it next Monday he's coming to Raw? But I think Friday he's going to be at SmackDown. But he has become a part-time champ. He has gotten into the MJF style of not defending his title. And MJF is a little bit more active than what he was. But both of those guys doing wrestling a disservice. Both of those guys. Both of them. At first, I was just looking at MJF. But Roman Reigns is doing wrestling a disservice, a huge disservice, and MJF. Those 2 guys, you could put them on posters. Those 2 guys, man, you could put them in the gen pop. General population, the general public will gravitate toward them, and that's what wrestling needs. But when you don't get out here and defend your title, you don't make yourself active. You're hurting your sport. You're hurting it. LeBron James, Kevin Durant. All these guys, even Steph Curry done got into it. Kawhi Leonard, these guys in the NBA who decide to sit out these games and, we're going to take a break and, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. All they do is hurt the sport. And they've hurt the sport big time, notwithstanding every other thing that done hurt the NBA. There's a lot of other factors that have hurt it going along. But these guys, man, that this time management and doing all this stuff, they hurt the sport. Hey, we paid money. People pay huge money to go, especially at an NBA game, to go and see these guys play. And then you take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time and effort to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to watch this. But is it worth my time? Time, man, that's something you can't get back in your life is time. So when these guys are sitting out or these guys don't want to get out here and wrestle, and when you have promoters out here who wants to give us garbage when it comes to wrestling and call it wrestling, they taking our time, man. They really are. But hey, if they didn't, if these guys did it right, then what would I be doing? I wouldn't be doing this. I'll be just a fan, man. I'll be just a fan. But I'd rather see them all do it right. We just get on and we just talk about the greatness of professional wrestling, man. That's the way I want to see it. All right, Pedro, appreciate you coming up with that question. But what's going on tonight with you, Pedro? JL 0-5 pretend Panthers. Yikes. Yeah, Panthers are not good this year, JL. They're not good. They haven't been good in a long time. All right, JL, the finger poke of doom, the Starrcade 97 main event, NWO dragging on that actor who won the world title, killed WCW. Yes. That was I was disgusted. All right, JL, do you think Marty Jannetty was carried by HBK's athleticism? He was seen as a joke and bag boy when Sean did his clean attack in that barbershop. Yeah. Well, I felt bad for Marty Jannetty. Marty Jannetty got into a bad situation. He was in a bad situation because, even though I think he did have some talent, hey, the the star of that group definitely was Shawn Michaels. Same thing with Rock and Roll Express. The star of that group is Ricky Morton, but Ricky Morton stayed loyal to Robert Gibson. Robert Gibson was nothing without Ricky Morton. The star of the Midnight Express was Bobby Eaton. Even though Dennis Condrey was the better wrestler, I'm talking about the first version of him. Then you had Stan Lane. Stan Lane was a great wrestler too, but the star of that show was Bobby Eaton, straight up. So I don't know. Sometimes you can get into things like that, or you can get into a group, and then there's one or two stars in that group, everybody, and then you have two or three other guys that's not worth anything, man, and they're just left by the wayside, and you don't know what to do with them. It's sad, but it's true. JL said Sefferton claims WWE is the most popular as it's ever been. He's nuts. He's seriously nuts. Oh, JL said the Criminals beat the Packers. Yeah. But yeah, Seth Rollins is nuts. All right, JL, when they had NWO Hollywood and NWO Wolfpack, it was a mess. Half the roster was NWO. Exactly. JL, remember woman as Kevin Sullivan and Benoit's story? Yes, definitely, JL. All right, JL said, it looks like Warlow is getting a push. Let's see how long this lasts. Not going to last long, JL. How many times they done tried to push this guy, man, and messed it up. All right, JL said, LeBron said he's trying to keep his body healthy and doesn't want to risk his career. And he said a rookie might want to make a name off of him by playing dirty. Oh, okay. Wow, man. I tell you what, a lot of people played dirty against Jordan, and that was the tough era. But you know, they knocked the living crap out of you. You didn't get nothing coming through the middle. And I played ball back then. You didn't get nothing going in the middle, not even in high school. Pedro Perez, thank you for your response. No problem, Pedro. JL, prop wrestling is cutthroat. You got to step on people's feet and be selfish to make it. Making friends it's tough there. That's true. All right, Pedro says Shinsuke Nakamura should have won on Fastlane. What is your opinion on that match versus Seth Rollins? Well, my partner Christopher Burton, the People's Podcaster, he wanted Shinsuke to win too. He was for Shinsuke, and man, look, Shinsuke, I can see if Shinsuke won it, but my thing was this here, Pedro, just like what they did with him tonight. He's back. I respect Ricochet. Ricochet, very, very, and he's quality enough to where he can be in some main event matches. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But he's a mid card. Shinsuke put him right back in a mid card feud. That's what Shinsuke has been for a while in WWE. For the last 2 years, he's been basically a mid card status, man. And next thing you know, he's up there main card status. He's wrestling Seth freaking Rollins for the world title. So I kind of had a problem with that. And I'm like, okay, how's people going to perceive this? Do we go back and remember Shinsuke from several years back when he was dominant? Do we remember Shinsuke from when he was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, when he was very dominant? Is that what we supposed to go off of, now that he's the world champion? So I look at stuff like that, Pedro. I look at things from, hey, what is your level of skill? What is your talent? What have been betrayed? Been laid on the public about you. So, are you coming up? You've been dominant. That's the way I put it. Have you been dominant? Have you been winning a lot of matches? So, guys, I do not want to end up. Let's see. Yeah, I'm losing power here. I don't want to lose all my power. So I'm about to get off here, guys. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in, man. And before you leave, please hit that like, share, join. If you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, man, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, ding, ding, ding. So you know when we're on like times like these. Do that same thing. If you see us on Twitch and on X, man, formerly known as Twitter, hit that like, tweet, like, share, tweet, and retweet, and follow us over there on X, guys. Straight up. All right. JL, it feels flat, boring, finished. Sefferton needs to drop that belt already. JL, I'm not going to say that. He's a fighting champion, man. He's a fighting champion. He's holding on to that belt. I like it. I'm looking for somebody to make. He's the first one had that belt. Make it important. Make it Gunther's belt. Make it like Gunther. Roman's belt will be very important, but Roman, he needs to wrestle, guys. And look, I got Roman at number 10. If you saw my countdown You saw what I did with the countdown. You can go into the shorts or whatever. I used to have a video up on it, but I had the top 10 countdown. Look in the shorts. It's hard to find it because the algorithm really haven't picked that one up. But I have the top 10. My top 10. Roman Reigns was ranked 10. MJF was ranked 5. It's because of Roman Reigns. He's just not active. He's the world champ, but he's not active. He's a universal champ, but he's not active. Oh, I forgot about Rico Rubbish. Okay. JL says, good night, Harrison. No doubt about it, man. Good night, JL, and happy Thanksgiving, my man. Pedro Perez says, thanks. No problem, Pedro, man. Glad that you joined. Glad that you joined in, JL. Glad that you came in here, Ray Underwood, and everybody else, man. Who was that on Facebook that come through? My man Matthew coming through. Matthew Lincoln coming through on Facebook, man. Everybody coming through. And there's other people came through, didn't stop, came out with anything or whatever. But man, hey, I know most of the friends and the friends of Straight Up Wrestling Show, our family, they are asleep and everything. But hey, I decided to come on. And guys, I appreciate you coming on with me. But definitely talk to you guys today, man. Today we will see a great show. I'm pretty sure. Tuesday night, man. Tuesday night is going to be a battle. NXT versus AEW, man. Hey, let's see if AEW can step up their game. NXT definitely stepped up their game by adding people to the roster, but we'll see how all this thing comes out with them, man, because they're gonna have to navigate a good show too. But guys, have a great night. Talk to you later. Stay straight up. Peace.